Well, it's about time we did our winter nursery tour. This is full of most affordable bonsai materials. You can see that it's been well picked over, and before we get back to starting the nursery again, I guess I'm going to have to refill it. I'm running low on these also. Oh, if you're wondering what this was, this is called Bonjing, and Bonjing is the god of bonsai. And I just happened to run across it when I was doing some research. It has something to do with the Shintoism. They have gods for everything. Okay, look at what we have here. Or more importantly, look what we don't have. The trees, the bonsai trees bend here, but behind it was a big kind of a leftover plum tree that kind of got wild and grew and other things got mixed in it. Well, you know, I removed that in the fall when we had the first rain. Well, now that it's gone, we have a different look. But what do you have to remember when you do something like that? When you take away something that was shading this area, you got to make sure either move the trees that needs more shade or add the shade to it. I think I'll be moving some of these plants out because it may not take as much of the sun. So anyway, those are things that you have to think about. It doesn't matter where you are, you should have microclimates. And so that's what I'm going to have to do is this coming spring, I'm going to have to adjust for what I've done. Well, this section, well, other than need the weed pulling and trimming, it's still okay, but I don't have much backup material to refill this bench. And we pan across here. There was a few that got sold from this section, but we could still see plenty more. You could also see that it needs weeding and trimming. So I've got plenty of work to do no matter what kind of climate we have. Okay, this section, well, mostly deciduous, but look at that one over there. That's the snake bark maple. It's not supposed to have the leaves on there. It changed color. It should have dropped off. That's one thing about bonsai. You just never know what's going to happen and when. So everything else in the deciduous section here, everything has dropped its leaves. Then we pan across. We have our boulevard cypresses. And then behind that are the pines, mostly blacks. And then a few other different things here. This section, big boulevard cypress, and there's a lot of large boxwoods. Well, if you go back and look at the previous nursery tours, you'll find there's things missing. Okay, this section is an open area. I think you're looking at my drone shot. Well, back on the ground here, we could see a lot of the familiar projects that we've done. There's that ginkgo in a bowl. These are very sun-loving plants. Oh, although I have it out here now, this ginkgo. You'll be here in the springtime, but you'll be put in the shade as the summer comes up. It have a tendency to burn a little bit if we don't. Well, from the drone shots, you could see some of these shade covers need to be put back up. There's just a lot of little things to do that I can't get to all the time. Now, we're looking at our olives. This area is intensely warm, but olives like the heat. So those of you that have real sunny locations, you could do the olives. This area here, this is where a lot of the mid-sized Chinese elms are. They'll take the heat, but it have a tendency to dry. So I only leave the very large Chinese elms outside. But the plant itself can take the heat. Oh, here's the one that Harold gave me. Oh, not the bonsai, but the container. And as we go up, a lot more plants that need. I just look at this and I said, oh, I'm so far behind. Seems like I'm always behind. Okay, remember I was telling you that Japanese boxwoods will change color depending on the cold and how much exposure it is to the cold. Well, these are well protected, so they haven't changed much versus the others. Okay, what we're looking at is, well, Niwaki or very large bonsai boxwoods. Well, this is being exposed to more of the weather. That's why it turned this sort of bronze color. And it always looks so unhealthy, but as soon as it warms up, it comes right back. Okay, in this section, this is the rat-style Chinese elm. I think this is the one that we call the dragon. And then boxwood that's sort of changed color, but plenty of protection. And we're looking at cryptomeria, some junipers, boulevard cypress, and kind of cool looking thing over there is our Princess Persimmon. It's still hanging on. It's kind of cool looking when all the leaves are gone and the fruit is still hanging on. There's that annoying plane that's making all the noise. Okay, this is the area with the big trees. I think this backdrop is going to be in need of replacement. Well, even redwoods after 30 years will start to deteriorate. So I got more work for me this spring sometime. It's never ending around here. Okay, let's see, we have a crepe myrtle, a Chinese elm. See, these big ones are in full sun. They'll be okay. The plant itself is okay, just that the root zone heats up too much and dries out. So I try not to grow the mid to the smaller size elm in full sun. All these are big trees, big containers, no problem. Let's see, are we looking at our drone shot about now? I think so. Okay, after we change the camera angle, we're looking at my Uncle Taka's pine and my ugly duckling, and they both are desperate in need of pruning. And then the Mugo. Well, one thing they have in common, they need pruning. Well, it seems like about 80% of my things are in need of pruning now. At the shaded structure, shooting from the outside. See, all these deciduous plants, they didn't all go dormant. And the ones with the most leaves are the snake bark. It's really strange. Look at that one. I think that one is a Japanese maple. All the others have dropped their leaves, and this one is still hanging on. So there's really no rule that said they all have to drop their leaves. They're going to do what they want to do. Here is a Trident Maple with few left leaves, and then these big ones over here have dropped their leaves like they're supposed to. And then on this side is Chinese elms, slightly different variety. So you have one that has a lot of leaves, some has a little bit of leaf, other have none. I think this is going to be one of my projects for this coming year. Arching raft style Chinese elm. Okay, back here I have the Milwaukee procumbens, Nana. No, I guess these are procumbens. So the Nana would be the dwarfer variety. These are the regular Nana, the procumbens. And there might be a buyer for these. They have shown interest, but I don't know till they come back. So, each time I do these, you recognize some, and then other times you don't see it anymore. That's because I was fortunate enough to sell it. And that's the name of the business here, is to sell the bonsai here. Okay, this femina is the one I did last year. Oh no, it was beginning of this year, and I cut it down to almost nothing, and now it's back to being super bushy. I think I did this other juniper too. And then this nice bright yellow. Oh, this was that mystery plant that I had no idea. I still don't know what it is, but it's deciduous, always been, but it hasn't dropped its leaves yet. And then one next to it is ume, or Japanese apricot. Okay, now that one's still hanging on with leaves. And then there's another ume over here. Looks like it's starting to bud. Bud's starting to swell. So, well, I don't know. Just strange how things react. Okay, these are very big Trident Maples. I'm not sure whether I showed you the earlier part. Well, there used to be 3. One got sold. So now I got 2. But it's okay, I got plenty of others that's a little bit smaller. Thank goodness there's people that still want these very big material. and I'm trying to get rid of those as fast as I can so that I never go to strain my back. Okay, here is a black pine and a red pine. I think I mentioned in the past that black is generally considered male and the red female. And down here we have Chinese elm, Korean, no, not Korean hornbeam, Chinese hackberries, and crepe myrtles. And I think in the back are zelkobas. And a lone olive. But this area gets full sun. Oh, this is the restricted area that people like to poke around in. See those with the red marking? I think those were the project that we did. That's, oh, I remember. That is a root over rock olive in the Shohin size. Anyway, so I try to block it off. But okay, this is our pine section. Oh, I haven't had a big customer this year. Last year was exceptional. I guess we can't really expect fantastic year every year, although it sure would be nice. Okay, in the future episode we will be covering the pines again. Pine seems like it's one of the most popular subjects, and I still got plenty, so I could make plenty of chapters. Well, the other day we had this conversation. A gentleman came in and wanted to know which month we should do what on the pines. Well, I said, you know, on the pines you don't do it by the month. You can't put it on a schedule. It's by the condition, and we usually look at the new candles to determine when that is. Okay, so I'll be covering more of that as I get to the pine chapters, but keep in mind that, and one example is this one, and then the one behind it, see how the candle hasn't come up yet. So this one here in the front, we better get to it pretty quick, and then the one over to the left maybe later, and the one in the back even later yet. So that's basically what we're going to be covering more detail as I get to the pine chapters. Well, that was kind of a quick trip around. I'll end with this Uncle Taka's rooted over rock Chinese elm. So hopefully you're enjoying these little tour of my nursery based on the season. So this has been the winter tour of the nursery. Okay, so hopefully you'll start to warm up soon. We'll see you again real soon.